Josh Mutart.
Here.
Renee Monka.
Here.
Chase Tibbles.
Here.
Gary Allen. Here. Patrick Stanton.
Here.
Brittany Wold.
Here.
John Dehan.
Here.
Todd Shepard.
Here.
Jessica Evenson.
Here.
Renee Skiles.
Here.
Joseph Bryant.
Here.
Ed Day.
Here.
Okay, and Sarah Feeney and JD Shrest are excused for today's meeting. Has everybody had a chance to review the agenda? Okay. I entertain a motion to approve the agenda for December 3rd, 2014.
So moved.
Jessica moves. Josh seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, move on to vote. Any for aye? Nay? Vote abstained? Motion carries. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes from the previous meeting on November 19th? Josh?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Chase seconds.
Wait, oh.
Any discussion?
Yeah, my name isn't on here for being here, like attendance.
Okay.
I'm there.
Seeing no more discussion, I bring this to a vote. Ayes? Nays? Abstained? Motion carries. All right, I have no reports as chair.
I have a couple. One, I did want to give feedback. We did hear back from the group that was submitted the funding request, the 1504 from a few weeks ago, the ones that did not show up. They responded back after our last meeting, letting us know they withdrew their request. They just didn't know how to formally do that because they did not end up going to a conference. So that's where that one was. As well as annual reports for all of our base funding areas were due by this last Monday. As of right now, we've received 40 of the 46, and I'm just waiting and following up with those other ones right now, but should be getting them in this week. But I'll let you all know when we convene next year where we are, but we should have them all in by then. And they will be posted online.
Any public comment? And moving on. Old business. We're here to vote on supplemental funding request 1505 CWU Challenge Course student wages in the amount of $20,000. Is there any discussion on this matter? And there are 10 minutes for discussion on this matter.
Could we pull up the attachments that were sent out?
Yeah, David.
You're gonna have to kind of guide
basically, this is gonna be, this shows what the prices are gonna have to increase to, and whether or not they get S&A funding.
There's a couple columns there, but what that indicates what it would be with or without.
For the various programs.
And they wanted the 20,000 yearly, right? For the pavilion.
Pleasure, anything else, Joe?
Ed, could we go that way? I think it's the other way. I want to see the titles on the left. So CWU faculty and staff, or student groups, are the two.
There's more.
And there's one more, visiting groups up underneath that.
So,
Do you know how much we have left to spend this year? Or Ed?
Well, yes, I do. I shouldn't be flippant.
so I don't know if this is kind of a pesky question, but is the purpose of S&A funding to augment visiting groups, offset what they would be normally be charged? I mean, that's kind of a theoretical question.
Are you asking on behalf of visiting visiting prospective students, or?
Well, it just says visiting groups, and so I just don't know what the normal practice. You know, I know like for homecoming,
Yeah.
S&A buys down the ticket price in effect when several famous comedians have come in the past. But anyway, I'm curious about how that's usually dealt with on something like this.
Yeah. It wouldn't be the purpose of the group, but the purpose of the funding is simply to augment and support student programs and funding. However, there could be situations where that funding, while it's for that, could have an impact
Spillover,
upon,
yeah.
But it wouldn't necessarily be something that we would intentionally be funding for visiting, or even for staff and faculty themselves.
Yeah, that one's kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
And this one seems further away from.
Yeah.
That was just, I'm just curious.
So, to get back to Jessica's question, this is what we have so far. So we've approved a little over $6,000 out of the $125,000 that was said we were gonna shoot for this year. And then these are the other supplemental requests that I dealt with more about as I cleared it up. So the $20,000 one is the one we're talking about, and then we have a down on the three.
So when looking at these prices up here, you look at the with and without S&A supplemental funding. If we look at the with S&A funding, the prices only increased by $6. I don't remember the exact percentage amount, but when you look at changing it to without S&A, I remember it was 131% change of the pricing, and that is huge. I think thinking from an economist's point of view is we're going to see less and less demand for this. People are going to use this less and less, and the problem will only escalate. So that's just my opinion to committee.
If they have to charge us higher
If they have to
price.
charge those higher prices, the demand for these services will become less and less.
I mean, I've got, 675 students participating with our 20,000. Just looking at the students, that's basically $30 a student, just students. So that'd make it $160. I've got 194 on here, and there are more than students supplementing that. Just seems like the number's not quite adding up. Does that make sense? Oh, yeah, I've got another sheet here. It says who participated, and there's a total of 675 students. So I just took the number of students and divided it back. Let's just say we were just funding the students. At $20,000, it's basically $30 a student increase or supplement. Yet the price has increased $63 per student. So, just an observation. I guess the other observation is that, and I know he fessed up last week when he was giving his presentation, and he was very honest in the fact that his predecessor had said that presented this challenge course as something that was going to break even one day. So when they came back and asked for their base funding, the committee memory at the time remembered that statement, and that's how they were refused base funding by that committee. He was very honest about that, and came back and said, well, I'm not going to make that claim. It's not going to be self-funding. We need help, and we need $20,000. So that's just another point of information. And was I right in the fact that he said he was going to ask for $20,000, next year ask for $20,000, and then come back on the base funding and ask for 4 years worth of that?
And just as a reminder on what Todd said, even though there's the plan for the future coming forward, whether it's approved or denied of the amount, this year wouldn't necessarily have an impact on the future year's funding. So whether we choose to fund it at whatever price or fund full price doesn't mean the committee next year would have to make the same decision. Or vice versa, if we choose not to fund it, doesn't mean the committee next year wouldn't have the ability to choose to fund it.
I could reverse my statement from before and say that with 675 students participating, what they're asking for is only $30 per student.
That's all it is.
I know.
And I know this committee likes to internalize the process before speaking out loud. But just as a reminder, I mean, really what you guys are all deciding on is for this year alone and whether or not whether or not we want to choose to fund this program, whether it meets the S&A funding pieces, and then if that's a yes, whether or not we want to fund it for the amount requested. So for you all to discuss or think about that.
Personally, I think that it does meet the S&A guidelines, and if you think about it, when we fund these other trips or projects, like even though they do benefit the school in some way, like sometimes we're only sending like 5 people to go to that. But like this program, it reached 675 people at our school alone, and by giving this money, we would be giving like 15 to 18 students like jobs on campus. So I think that's another thing to look at too. Like we're helping them fund their education, and like they were saying, like that gives them that first-hand experience that'll help them get jobs later on, and I feel like it gives back to the community a lot. So, in my opinion.
Have any of you ever done the ropes course?
We actually did it as a soccer team, soccer club team, and we did it. And we got to do it for free as a group. We didn't pay for it, and it was great. It was awesome.
Let's pay for it.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. It wasn't paid for by us players, and we had 20 players on the team, and only 10 or 11 showed up, which was very disappointing. And because it was a great opportunity to, improve
It's great team building.
team building, exactly. And I think for clubs and teams, this is a great exercise to begin, especially in the beginning of the season or something.
That's been my experience too.
So based off what everybody said, what everyone has been saying, and if you look at the budget that we set aside to allocate this year, and if you break it down into the basically the 3 quarters that this community is operating, it gives us about 41,500 basically per quarter, if you wanted to look at it that way. And given that we've only spent a marginal amount, and given the impact that this program is going to be facing in terms of raising the prices, which, like Nick said, that's going to deter a lot of students away, and maybe other private groups that come. So given that being said, I'd like to make a motion to approve this request in the full amount.
Is there a second to that motion? Jessica Evenson seconds that motion. Okay. Any discussions? Seeing none, we take this to a vote. All those in favor? Okay, 8. And all those not in favor? Abstain? 1. Okay. Motion carries. All right, moving on to new business. We're going to listen to supplemental funding request 1506, Student Fashion Association Field Experience in the amount of $10,000. Would that group like to come forward? Thank you.
Cheap bill.
That's right. Okay.
Which one is this?
So the
Student Fashion Association.
okay. Yeah. So because they've not shown up, I'm going to entertain a motion to table supplemental funding request 1506 until the next Student Service and Activities Committee meeting, which is the 7th of January 2015.
I second that.
Yeah, wait, there has to be.
Josh?
Do you want to make the
Oh,
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to table this until our next meeting.
second.
Second by Mr. Smith. Now we take this to, or any discussion? All those in favor? Oh, Josh, sorry.
So basically, they're just gonna, this is the, they'll come present the next meeting.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
clarify.
Okay, so now we take this to vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries. All right, now we move on to new business item, supplemental funding request 1507, Operation Stimulus Competition to Greek College Business in the amount of $3,005. All right. Okay. All right, so first off, I'm going to abstain from discussion and voting on this matter, as I'll be benefiting from this, as well as we have 10 minutes of discussion. Thank you.
Well, wait, one second, can I, you said 3,000 and, it says 3,170.
Yes, we got an updated, we put supplemental request on the agenda, but I had to contact the group because there were some issues with the request.
So what was the new number?
3,170.
Oh, so it's 3,170?
That is the current.
Yes.
Is there any way that we can open up, it on the email, our PowerPoint up on?
Yeah, if you can log in.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Correct that.
Just not on the
Yeah,
agenda.
Should we make it? Don't make it.
So my name is David Pikarchuk, this is Kayla Lockhart, and we will be presenting our request for funding for Operation Stimulus, which is, go ahead, hit the next slide, please. So Operation Stimulus is a case competition in Denver, Colorado. This is the 34th year of the case competition, 18th year with undergraduates. Each university they select only sends one team from that university. Last year there were 11 teams. This year there will be a max of 16. And we will be sending 6 CWU students, myself, Kayla, Nick, Tori, Becca, and Randy. And we will be going from January 29th to January 31st for the case competition.
So why do we want to go here? So basically we want to be able to apply all of the knowledge that we have learned in our major and in our classes to the real world. This will benefit us in the future. Not only will it give us something to put on our resume, but it will help us understand what kind of things we could be doing at a potential job. We'll also be representing CWU, getting our name out there, competing against other schools. It's a really good chance for Central to network as well as the students. And we will be striving on past successes. Last year I know a team that went, and I don't know exactly where they placed, but I know that they benefited from it greatly. And recently David and I were on a team that competed in the Boeing Northwest Case Study Competition, and we placed first place overall out of the schools. So it's just a really good way to get Central on the map and help us network and get a better experience for what we can be doing in the future. The proposed budget, I noticed that it changed, so it's $3170. So we will be raising $1,800, and so I mean the total is just $3170. That's what we're asking for. The hotel that we looked at is in a discounted rate, and there's a little bit of a buffer zone for transportation because we're not exactly sure what we're going to be doing, if we're going to take the shuttle or if we're going to drive by ourselves. The shuttle will be a little bit safer. It's going to be a little bit more expensive, but driving by ourselves has the potential for, we're more likely to get in an accident. So I mean, it's a buffer zone. We don't really know what we're going to be doing yet. So, but whatever money is not spent, you guys will get refunded back for. So it's not really, you're not really losing anything. And I mean, that's basically all we have for you guys. So we just think it'll be extremely beneficial for us to go and compete and get our names out there and put Central on the map.
Yeah, nobody at the Boeing case competition really took us seriously. Like Western was looking down on us, everybody, and then we proved them all wrong.
We're hoping to do that here, so help us do that.
So you guys beat Western, UW, Wazoo, you beat all the other Washington
It was
schools?
Western, UW, and Portland State.
Portland State had 2 teams, and we just stated the case the best. I mean, we only had 3 questions, and I guess they really appreciated what we had done. And you just saw some really original ideas because the case was really vague. They just said, look, we have these 787s, they're on back order, we just took an order for more. How do you fix it? Using lean methods. And then they just said, go from there, make the assumptions what you will, just be prepared to back them up.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
Yes.
What's the Denver Transportation Club? It was on the first slide.
Oh, that is just who is hosting the case study competition, I believe.
Just a curious club.
Yeah, I don't know.
You said the last competition was hosted by who?
The competition that we competed in,
Yeah.
it was Boeing.
Yeah.
Boeing hosted that.
I have an idea what Boeing is. I don't know if
I think that this is just more of a logistics company
Yeah.
or a club, just focusing more on logistics and distribution.
So what is the major?
We're supply chain management
Okay.
majors, but this isn't limited to just that. It's more of a business major. So there's finance students, there's
Right.
econ students, there's HR students. There's a bunch of different people that can be competing. We just happen to be mostly supply chain management.
Yeah. And who's your advisor? Club advisor?
Deepak.
I'm just curious.
Yes.
I had one question. On the actual proposed budget, it says 3 hotel rooms, 1 for 2 males, 1 for 3 females, and 1 for a professor, but I believe it says there's 6 students going. Is there a student not listed on?
There's 3 girls and 3 guys. That was before we added an additional person to it. We must have forgotten to change that. But
Just
and then
wanted
the
to check.
professor is Deepak. Yeah.
but how are the students chosen to participate?
It's all volunteer.
It's volunteer, and Deepak selected what he felt were the best students to represent CWU.
The 6 students.
6 students. He wanted, with Nick and Tori, 2 juniors for next year to continue it, so we have people who know what's the case is, or not the case, but know what's happening, know how to go through it, because Randy was on the team last year, so Deepak had him lead the team this year. And with the bowling case competition, it was viewed as a practice run for us, just to gel the team, to see how we could all work together, you know, like a trial run. Bowling the goal was to win it, but it was okay if we didn't. It was just to see, you know, our strengths and weaknesses and preparation for Denver.
At any of these competitions, do you win like scholarship money or
We
anything?
won
like that?
$1,000 from Boeing, and we also won a guaranteed job interview.
And the $1,000, do you just put that like into your club account?
I think they
or-
just give us cash. I think that they're going to transfer us. They said it's going to take until early 2015 to process, but they said I'm pretty sure that they're just going to send us a check and then we're going to split it up.
And had there been any juniors on the team, they would have been offered internships with bowling.
Ooh.
Does this Denver one have any of those perks to it, or?
I am not quite sure. I'm sure that there's a cash prize, but I'm not sure if there's any job opportunities.
I was gonna say, how big is this Denver?
Last year there were 11 schools competing, and that's one group from a bunch of different schools, so it's pretty big. I think it's a national case study competition.
Yeah, we have people from Penn State, Michigan. Deepak also said Arizona. You get teams from Canada. You see a lot of the bigger schools, less of a Northwest influence, more of like you're competing against everybody.
So do you guys say that this is bigger than the Boeing one last year? Because I know
The
that
competition.
last year was a big deal.
Yeah, the competition is a lot harder than that going. Western and Portland State were probably our 2 biggest competitors, and there were only 2 of them, so this one we're going to be competing against everyone.
And one more. The airfare cost that's on here, is that for all 6 students and or at least what's listed on here that's the 2220, is that for the 6 students and the faculty, or is that still when there was 5 students?
I'd assume that it was for all of them. I think that budget includes everyone.
Okay, so 7 tickets. Okay.
I just have a question about procedure. So this is at the end of January. We're not going to meet again until maybe the 2nd week of January?
We're meeting January 7th.
7th?
Yeah.
Is that enough time for you guys can you wait that long, or do you need to get tickets, plane tickets, or what?
I'm not sure. I'm not in charge of buying the plane ticket, so I'm not exactly sure when
I just
we're
didn't know
planning
if
on
it
getting
would,
those.
since it's a pretty good while, if we should maybe consider voting on it tonight.
Well, when is the competition?
The end of January.
It's January 28th. Yeah. And with that, I mean, they would still have to purchase the tickets with their own money, and the refund would just be that they would know that it was funded, so they'd be getting the money back for procedure. But
Are we allowed to vote on this day if someone wanted to
if
make
the
a motion?
committee put it to a vote to essentially add it to the agenda to vote on it today, then yes, that would be an option.
I would like to make that motion.
Okay. So there's a motion on the table
To discuss and vote on this tonight.
to discuss and vote on supplemental funding request 1507 on December 3rd, 2014. Is there a second? Chase Tibbles seconds that motion.
And I assume that's in addition to the agenda.
Okay, so is there any more discussion on the matter to vote whether we vote on this and discuss this tonight? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed, all those abstaining, motion carries. Okay, I'm abstaining.
So now we have a 10-minute discussion.
Well, following, once we finish the question part, we'll have
Okay.
10 minutes to discuss, yeah. And vote.
If the committee has any further questions for the group.
David, the card check.
Yeah.
I've been friends with him for 3 years and I don't even know how to spell his last name yet.
It's an accomplishment when you're little.
There needs to be a motion on the table to, no,
There's discussion.
oh, okay.
Essentially, we would just end
Could
questions.
end.
Well, there's no
Okay.
motion.
So I'm saying. Seeing no further questions. Seeing no further questions, we'll move on to voting.
Okay,
You'll
seeing,
have to excuse yourself.
okay, seeing no further questions, we're gonna move on to voting. Someone has to entertain it. I'm not gonna, no?
No.
Oh,
You
okay.
still want to- You're gonna have to excuse yourself as the.
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks you guys.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Now you're gonna have to excuse yourself as the chair.
Jessica gets to be chair.
You guys can stick around and you don't have to leave.
You don't have to leave.
Okay.
There may be other questions that come
Okay.
up. There may be other questions that come up.
And we'll just hang out.
If, if you're recognized by Jessica, then yes.
If you're ready. That's good.
Well, so now, even though it's not legit, so now we're gonna move on to new business, section B, voting on supplemental
Alrighty, we are now moving on to the new section B, voting on supplemental request 1507, Operation Stimulus Competition. We have 10 minutes for discussion. Yes, Brittany.
No, I thought we were supposed to fund faculty. Is that correct?
So I was just in, can I say something? Sorry. The question, I was informed that the budget is including the 6 students and not Deepak. He will be paying for his own ticket and all other costs.
But yes, that would be
That's
correct to
true.
answer your question.
All right. Just
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you. Questions for the calendar?
Yes.
With that, then, does the hotel room, is that still factored in? Because it does say 3 hotel rooms on that 1,800 price. Do you know?
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Sure,
Nick,
you right.
yes.
Yeah.
So I know those costs are only including the students and have been reaccounted for the 6 students.
It just hasn't been edited, the description.
The description is not edited with the
Yes, Josh.
So, just from personal experience, knowing people who have gone to these in the past, especially the bowling one last year, the College of Business and DPAC, they take this very seriously. I mean, they spend a lot of time on this. And it not only, like Kayla said, it gets people interviews, juniors get internships. Not only is it good for the students going, but what it does is, what I've seen that the classes that I'm in, they talk about it a lot, and there's emphasis on actually being able to use these practical skills they learn in the class. So I like these case studies, and so that being said, that I'd like to make a motion to approve funding for the full amount.
There's been a motion to approve funding for full amount. Is there a second? Dylan,
I second.
Or, yeah, sorry. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye, or hand.
Aye.
Alrighty, all opposed? Any abstaining? One abstaining, Patrick. Motion carries. Budget has been approved for the full amount. Now I'm going to
You can choose to
step
allow.
down and allow you to come back to the front.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Moving on to section 10, other business, communications received. I've received none. Ed? Nope. Okay, moving on to section 11, public comment, second call.
Oh, yeah. This is where I do the report back, right? Okay. So you guys gave the Family Studies Department a little over $4,000 to go to Baltimore from the 18th to the 22nd, and so we took 10 students who went to Baltimore, went to the conference, met a bunch of professionals in the field, networked, learned a lot of research. We're going to present what we learned to the practicum class next week, and we've already started integrating the research and all the programs that we learned about into our internship.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
What's your
Oh.
name?
Lindsay Montgomery.
Okay.
Thanks.
Any other public comment? No? Okay, section 12, adjournment. I entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting at 6:22 PM. Is there a motion to? Jessica carries. Is there a second? Josh seconds. All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, all those abstaining, motion carried. This meeting is